Leo's world was a small gray place. It was made of dusty corners and cold sidewalks. His stomach was a hollow drum. It beat a sad, empty rhythm all day long. Hunger was a constant friend, a shadow that never left his side. He had no coins in his pocket, not a single one to jingle. He had no one to call his own. The world felt enormous and loud, but Leo felt very small and quiet inside it. Bakeries sent warm, sweet smells into the air. The scent of bread baking was a beautiful kind of torture. He would press his face against the cool glass of the window. He could see golden loaves and frosted cakes. They looked like treasures from a storybook. But they were treasures behind an invisible wall. He could look, but he could never touch. He learned to walk with his head down. It was easier than seeing all the things he could not have. The pigeons were his only companions. He would watch them peck at crumbs on the ground. He envied them. They always seemed to find something to eat. They had each other, a whole flock of them. Leo felt like he was a single feather fallen to the ground. He had forgotten what it felt like to be full. He had forgotten what it felt like to be happy, unable to fly away from his sadness. One afternoon, the sun was a weak, watery yellow. Leo was sitting on his usual step, watching the shoes of people walking by. Brown shoes, black shoes, fast shoes, slow shoes. Then, a pair of small red shoes stopped right in front of him. He looked up slowly. His eyes traveled from the red shoes up to a kind face. The face had bright eyes and a soft smile. A girl was standing there, looking down at him. There was something familiar in her gaze, like a half-remembered song. She tilted her head and a long brown braid fell over her shoulder. The world seemed to stop its hurried rushing for just a moment.
Leo.
Her voice was quiet, but it cut through the noise of the city. It was a name he had not heard spoken with such gentleness in a very long time. He just stared. He could not find his own voice. The girl knelt down, so her eyes were level with his.
It is me, it's Clara.
Clara. The name was like a key. It unlocked a door in his memory that had been shut for years, a door that led to a sunnier, warmer place, a place before the hunger and the loneliness had arrived. He remembered a girl with a missing front tooth and a laugh that sounded like tiny bells. He had not seen her since they were very small, and now, here she was. But her eyes were the same. A small smile touched Leo's lips. Clara's visits became the best part of Leo's day. They were this bright spot in what had always felt like his gray world. She helped him find a job, just a small one, sweeping floors at a nearby market. But you know, it was a start. The work was tough, but it actually felt good. It felt good to have a purpose, to earn his own money, even if it was just a few coins. With his first earnings, he bought a loaf of bread. He held it in his hands, and it was warm. It smelled wonderful. He didn't have to press his face against a window anymore. He could just walk right in and buy it. That small victory felt like a giant leap. Hope is a funny thing. It can be so small, like a single seed. For a long time, the soil of Leo's heart had been too dry and hard for anything to grow. But Clara's kindness was like a gentle rain, and her friendship was like the warm sun. With her help, that little seed of hope began to sprout. He started to lift his head when he walked. He noticed the color of the sky. He heard the birds singing in the trees. The world, which had seemed so gray and hostile, was slowly starting to show its colors again. He wasn't just waiting for the day to end anymore. He was actually starting to look forward to the morning. He and Clara spent all their free time together. They would walk through the park, talk for hours. She listened to him, to all the stories of his lonely days. She never judged him. She just listened with her kind eyes. He started to smile more. A real smile, one that reached his eyes. The hollow drum in his stomach was finally quiet. The years passed, like turning pages in a book. Leo grew from a boy into a young man. The sadness that had once clung to him was gone, and in its place was this quiet strength. Clara was always by his side. Their friendship, which had been a lifeline, slowly began to change. It deepened into something more. The way he looked at her was different now, filled with a gentle warmth, a deep affection that went beyond just friendship. He saw her not just as the girl who saved him, but as the person he couldn't imagine his life without. She was his home. One day, they were sitting by the same oak tree they had tried to climb as children. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Leo held her hand. It fit perfectly in his. He didn't have much to offer in terms of riches. He didn't have gold. He didn't have jewels. But he had a heart that was full of gratitude, full of hope, and most of all, full of love for her. He looked into her eyes, the same bright eyes that had found him on that lonely step.
Marry me, Clara. Let's build a life together.
Of course, she said yes. Their wedding was a small, simple affair, but it was filled with more joy than the grandest of celebrations. They had their friends from the market. They had each other. They started their life in a small apartment with a bright blue door. They didn't have much, but honestly, they had everything that mattered. They had love. They had a shared past that made their present precious. And they had a future that stretched out before them, full of promise. Leo never forgot the days of his empty bowl. He and Clara made sure their home was always a place of warmth and welcome. There was always an extra plate at their table, just in case. His life, which began in shadows, was now filled with light.